Everyone, one quick note before I start getting into today's video. Yeah, and this is one of the first videos on the new channel, and I'm still working out the kinks on how to get this green screen to look good, so bear with me. It'll only be a slight bit longer till I figure it out. But until then, enjoy your content. So I got bored one day in class, and I thought, how much would the Earth be worth if it was made out of antimatter? Well, I ran the calculations, and let's find out. Okay, so I might as well set aside some basic numbers beforehand. Antihydrogen, which is listed by official sources, has a value of $62.5 trillion per gram. I also did a little bit of pioneering in the field to determine the value of higher levels of antimatter. So, in the real world, if you take two hydrogen atoms and just smash them together, they form helium. And, well, by doing the process of that is a little too complicated, so I'll leave all that out. For antimatter, it would be similar to the same thing. You would have two antihydrogens, you throw them together, and you get an antihelium. Again, they're just the sum of the components that you put together. So to find the value of these, if you have two of the same atom, I just thought, well, you would have the value of each of the individual atoms plus the value of the process that combines them together, which would make it triple of the value. It's an approximation, but it's close enough for what I'm doing. Now let's say you had two different types of atoms. I don't know, like hydrogen and helium, let's say. So you would take that. They aren't necessarily perfect when it comes to smashing them together. So I say you have twice the value of one plus twice the value of the other. That should make up somewhere for the fact that they aren't the same atom, and thus that makes the cost of the process slightly different. Okay, so I wanted to stretch these numbers as far as I reasonably could. So I went as far as I could on the periodic table, all the way up to element 118, which is ununoctium, or oganesson, however you pronounce it. Things have changed since I first learned the periodic table. So I stretched these calculations as far as I could, and well, calculating the whole value, multiplying all that was just a doozy, so just take my word that once all the calculations are done, ununoctium in antimatter would be worth 5,742 times as much as antihydrogen. Another easy variable to knock out would be the size of the Earth, which we have a radius of 3,959 miles. Convert that and we have 1.8 times 10 to the 27th cubic centimeters, which, round that off, is 1 octillion cubic centimeters. Now, I also tried to look up the density of antimatter, but this is where it got interesting. I found an article that listed the density of antimatter to be between -65 and 110 times as dense as regular matter. Now, of course, again, I just want to stretch these numbers as far as possible. I'm going to veer toward the higher end of that spectrum at 110. So, surprisingly, you can actually look up the density of ununoctium, which is 5.1 grams per cubic centimeter. That's fair. Then multiply it by the 110, that gives you 561 grams per cubic centimeter. So after that, you can take the numbers to the DMV, density equals mass divided by volume. Plug this the wrong way around, and you get density times volume equals mass, which is what we're really after. Now, since we're plugging in grams per cubic centimeter as density and volume in cubic centimeters, then we're going to be getting out grams, which is going to be perfect because we're not going to have to do any other funky calculations. Okay, so more number crunching nerdiness aside, take my word that the Earth in antimatter would be worth 605 octillion grams. Okay, so we solve for the weight in grams, and then just multiply that by the approximately $375.75 quadrillion per gram of anti-ununoctium. So we have our weight in grams, and we now have our price, which, using the multiplier from earlier, would boot the value of anti-ununoctium to $375.75 quadrillion per gram. That's huge. Then I just smashed some more numbers together. Get this. The entire Earth would be worth 216 quadrillion dollars. Okay, so let me, quadrillion dollars, who knows what that is? Let me try and put that into a little bit more of scale for you. Take all the money on Earth, gold, silver, I don't know, real estate, loans, anything that would have value on Earth. And that only adds up, depending on who you ask, to about $1.2 quadrillion. That is literally 1 in 118 nonillion, which is still too big of a number to comprehend. That would be literally saying 1/septillionth of a percent or less. Okay, let me try and put this in another scale for you. So, 216 quadrillion dollars would have 45 zeros after it. And that is just about halfway to a Google with 100 zeros after it, which is a number so big that we can't even comprehend that in the first place. But anyway, hopefully these huge numbers we'll never have to see, because hopefully we're not converting our entire planet into antimatter for some magical reason. Because antimatter is actually proven to be a very potent explosive. But I guess that's a topic for another episode. I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I guess I'll see you all in a future episode. But until then, goodbye.